I'd like to call this meeting to order. All right, closed session items. B1, conference with labor negotiators. B2, public employment appointment. B3, public employee discipline dismissal, release, resignation. B4, legal update. B5, legal update, existing litigation. And B6, student expulsion cases A73-24, A74-24, A75-24, student expulsion readmission cases A13-23, A36-24. Opportunity for public to address the board on closed session items. Do you have any cards?
No.
No cards? All right, we'll be back at 6:30. All right, we'll reconvene. E1, introduction of interpreters.
Good evening. My name is Jenny Jimenez. I'm the Spanish interpreter. I'm on the Spanish language line. Come see me if you need interpretation. Buenas tardes, mi nombre es Jenny Jiménez. Soy la intérprete de español. Voy a estar en línea telefónica de español y tengo audífonos para que escuchen la traducción.
Good evening to everyone. My name is Najib. I'm translator for Pashto language. If anyone needs my help, please call me. I'm sitting there. Marsham Pakher, Zmanum Najibri, the Stas the Pashto Jibish Baranyam, Katazma Mresta Zurat Larik, the Stas Khidmat Kim. Manana Chulzhe.
All right, E2, report action taken during closed session.
There is no action taken.
All right, E3, board action by separate votes, student expulsion cases.
Mr. President, my apology. Before we move any further on the agenda, I'd like to make a motion to amend the board agenda for the night, removing items L1 and L2 from the agenda.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion made by Baker, seconded by Bastian.
It's not. You just got to do it. Just do it manually.
Trustee Sandoval? Trustee Sandoval?
Let me look at this.
Just a reminder, trustees, that we're pulling the agenda items off for the petitions for Higher Learning Academy and Futures High School to bring you back at a later date.
So L1 and 2 will be brought back at a later date?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Trustee Bastian?
Aye.
Trustee O'Hara?
Aye.
Trustee Baker?
Aye.
Trustee Voigt?
Aye.
Trustee Reichel?
Aye.
And Trustee Jefferson's an aye. Motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. President.
All right, E3, board action by separate votes, student expulsion case A73-24.
I'll move.
Second, Bastian.
Moved by-
Motion made by Trustee Baker, seconded by Trustee Bastian. Trustee Sandoval?
Yes.
Trustee Bastian?
Aye.
Trustee O'Hara?
Aye.
He's an aye.
Trustee Baker?
Aye.
Trustee Voigt? Trustee Reichel?
Yes.
And Trustee Jefferson's an aye. Motion carries.
Student expulsion case A74-24.
I'll move.
Second.
Sorry. Who seconded?
Sandoval.
It was a tie.
Motion made by Trustee
Rebecca?
Baker, seconded by Trustee Sandoval. Trustee Sandoval?
Yes.
Trustee Bastian?
Aye.
Trustee O'Hara?
Aye.
Trustee Baker?
Aye.
Trustee Voigt?
Aye.
Trustee Reichel?
Aye.
And Trustee Jefferson's an aye. Motion carries.
Student expulsion case A73-24.
I'll move.
Second, Bastian.
Motion made by Trustee Baker, seconded by Trustee Bastian. Trustee Sandoval?
Yes, that's A75-24, correct?
Yes.
Okay, yes.
Did she say yes?
She said yes.
Okay. Trustee Bastian?
Aye.
Trustee O'Hara?
Aye.
Trustee Baker?
Aye.
Trustee Voigt?
Aye.
Trustee Reichel?
Aye.
And Trustee Jefferson's an aye. Motion carries.
Student expulsion readmission case A13-23.
I'll move.
Second?
Motion made by Trustee Baker, seconded by Trustee Sandoval. I couldn't hear her, I'm sorry. Trustee Sandoval?
Yes.
Trustee Bastian?
Aye.
Trustee O'Hara?
Aye.
Trustee Baker?
Aye.
Trustee Boyd?
Aye.
Trustee Reichel?
Aye.
And Trustee Jefferson's an aye. Motion carries.
Student expulsion readmission case A36-24.
I'll move.
Second, Bastian.
Motion made by Trustee Baker, seconded by Trustee Bastian. Trustee Sandoval?
Yes.
Trustee Bastian?
Aye.
Trustee O'Hara?
Aye.
Trustee Baker?
Aye.
Trustee Voigt?
Aye.
Trustee Reichel?
Aye.
And Trustee Jefferson's an aye. Motion carries.
All right, Pledge of Allegiance led by Trustee Stacy Bastrop.
We could stand. Salute. Pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Reports, Board President, no report tonight. Dr. Martinez.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming out to tonight's board meeting. Parents, thank you for coming out and supporting your students tonight. It's a big deal to get national, recognition from the College Board. Just want to give a big congratulations, and we'll get to those special ceremony in just a minute. Also, to our Teachers of the Year, thank you for being here this evening, and congratulations on, well, we'll get to that too, so I don't want to spoil all the fun. And for staff, I noticed there's quite a few staff members here this evening. Thank you for taking time out of your evening to be here tonight. I really do appreciate that. We're off to a great start. We got a lot of things going on across our district. Really exciting news. I met with a group of folks the other day, and maybe many of you know about our dual enrollment program, especially you guys are there here who are probably part of our dual enrollment program. Last year we graduated, I believe, a total of 3 students who got their high school diploma along with an AA degree. As of right now, we have a total of possibility of up to 8 students who may accomplish that this year. But what we have is we have a total of 91 students who are in the pipeline from their sophomore to senior years who are on track to graduate with an AA degree. That's a 2-year college degree and their high school diploma. So a lot of exciting things going on there. Just want to thank all the counselors for doing all the great work that they're doing on behalf of our students. And of course, we have tons of extracurricular activities going on across our district right now. Soccer and cheer are in season, and so if you have a child in elementary and they're not doing anything, please take advantage of these programs. We have them throughout our whole district, and they're free to everyone. So, and those games are on the weekend, so take part of that. We have farmer markets that are going to be starting up. I think a couple of already happen at our schools. So just FYI, parents, we do farmer markets at our schools where kids come through. They get to pick fruit. They get free fruit and vegetables, and they get to eat them in, I believe, probably in their classrooms or somewhere on campus. But they enjoy that. It's really a good time. With that being said, I just, again, want to say that we're off to a great year. We're celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month. One thing I'm really proud of our Latino students and the work that they're doing. Over the last 10 years, our Latino students have raised their graduation rates from 72% to 92% in our school district. And the work that they're doing to continue to lead Twin Rivers and continue to do great work. And I just want to acknowledge our students and their parents for believing in their students, but more important, believing in all of us that we can do great things by their kids. So thank you. Enjoy our meeting tonight.
Thank you, Dr. Martinez. G, personnel recommendations.
I'll move it, minus release from probation number 409616.
We do have some speaker cards.
Speaker card.
Okay.
One speaker card. Gina Velez-Balai.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I will only take a few minutes of your time. My name is Gina Velez-Balai, and my name is on the personnel recommendations at tonight's meeting for retirement effective January 2nd. It was not a light decision to put in for my retirement, and I felt it important to share my appreciation for you all. And our board and our district leadership, as well as the Twin Rivers community. As I stand before you today, there are many emotions that I am experiencing as I reflect on my past 35 years of what I consider a fulfilling career. As I reminisce on the years I spent years in service with Grant District, as well as Twin Rivers, I am reminded of the challenges we have all faced, the successes we have all celebrated, and the lessons we have all learned together. I'm very proud to have been a part have been a part of it, all of it. And I wanted to thank each and every one of you for your support and your special moments that have made my professional career truly special. Your vision has given communities an opportunity towards success, and I'm thankful for the opportunity to contribute towards shared goals. While my time here as an employee of Twin Rivers will conclude at the end of the calendar year, I will continue to be a proud part of the Twin Rivers community, Pacers for Life, and I will be leaving with a heart filled with gratitude and peace, which comes from the accomplishments we have all worked towards together to achieve. I wish you all continued success and your joy in your own professional journeys. Thank you all so very much, and I appreciate you all.
Mr. President, yes, Gina, I was saddened to see your name. I remember being a high school student of Foothill and taking you my absent notes to clear, so you will be missed. Thank you. I think I've known you for over 30 years, so thank you, and you will be missed.
Thank you for your service and years of sacrifice. Thank you.
Mr. President, like I said, I'd like to move the personnel recommendations.
Second.
Minus release from probation number 409616, that removed from personnel recommendations.
Yeah.
Second, Bastian.
Bastian.
Okay. Motion made by trustee Baker, seconded by trustee Bastian. Trustee Sandoval?
Yes.
Trustee Bastian?
Aye.
Trustee Okara?
Aye.
Trustee Baker?
Aye.
Trustee Boyd?
Yes.
Trustee Reichel?
Aye.
And trustee Jefferson's an aye. Motion carries.
H1, recognition, National College Board recognition of students.
You wanna go with me?
Good evening, trustees, President Alcara, staff. We are here this evening to make a really exciting recognition, a national recognition by the College Board, recognizing academic honors by 14 of our incredible students. So all of these students also happen to be first-generation recognition recipients. And before I have their principals introduce them, I'm just going to, well, we've got a big team up here. I think I'm going to turn it over to, first of all, Mr. Hanson. And he is the principal at Grant Union to introduce his award recipients.
Good evening. I'd like to start our first student, Leo Rios. Next, Eduardo Ariola. Next, Princess Tuamala. And finally, Belle Lee.
All right, and next, Principal Barlow from Rio Linda High School to recognize her award winners.
Deborah Aguirre. Serena Eaton. Jenry Goana Jimenez. Madison Medina de la Cruz. Dayanara Medina. Angelisa George.
All right, thank you so much, students and your families, for coming out. We are so very proud of you. It is a really big honor to be nationally recognized, and you have well deserved it. So congratulations to everyone. Students, if you can come up, we're going to take a photo with your board members and superintendent. Families, come on up.
Next to the guys back there. Parents, if you want to get in position and take a picture, feel free.
Yeah, you know, all these parents come out, I think it's great for parents.
Okay, ready, everyone? Get it close.
All right, let's give her a big round of applause, everybody.
H2, recognition of the 2024-2025 District Teachers of the Year.
Yes. Oh.
Gina, carry on.
Let's go down. Are you going down, Sharon?
Sharon, Foothill Oaks teachers here too.
Yeah.
Okay, do I go now?
Yep.
Be quiet.
Okay, thank you. We are excited to introduce, so we're going to keep up with the festivities here. We are excited to introduce our two teachers who were selected as District Teachers of the Year for 2024-2025. These teachers proudly represented the Twin Rivers in the Sacramento County Teacher of the Year program. So first, and I do believe that we have their principals here as well. So if Ms. Rosovic wants to come up and Mr. Hinson wants to come up as well. So first off, we have fifth grade teacher at Foothill Oaks Elementary, Edie Zhang. I got it. And next, here's a long title for everything that he teaches. We have, he teaches Advanced Placement Physics, Advanced Placement Environmental Science, and Physics of the Universe. We have Grant Union High School teacher, Mark Van Kuren. And I will add on that Mr. Van Kuren was also chosen as the 2025 Sacramento County Teacher of the Year. Congratulations, and thank you for all you do.
H3, adopt resolution number 1384, California Native American Day, September 27, 2024. Trustee Reichel.
Whereas California Native American Day, observed on the fourth Friday of September, honors the rich heritage, culture, and contributions of Native Americans in California. And whereas California is home to a diverse array of Native American tribes, each with unique traditions, languages, and histories, who have been integral to the state's culture and historical development. And whereas Twin Rivers Unified School District is committed to embracing and promoting the values of equity, diversity, inclusion. And whereas Native Americans are integral to our district, contributing as both certificated and classified staff members and as part of our student population. And whereas the Native American Education Program in Twin Rivers Unified is dedicated to addressing the unique cultural, language, and academic needs of students, including preschool children. And whereas California Native American Day aligns with our district's commitment to fostering cultural awareness, respect, and appreciation within our school community. And now, therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Twin Rivers Unified School District does hereby recognize September 27th, 2024 as California Native American Day. We encourage all members of our community to engage in educational activities and events that honor and celebrate the history and traditions of our Native American population.
I'll move the item.
I'll second.
Motion made by Trustee Baker, seconded by Trustee Okara. Trustee Sandoval?
Yes.
Trustee Bastian?
Aye.
Trustee Okara?
Aye.
Trustee Baker?
Aye.
Trustee Boyd?
Aye.
Trustee Reichel?
Aye.
And Trustee Jefferson's an aye. Motion carries.
H4, adopt resolution number 1385, National Hispanic Heritage Month, September 15 to October 15, 2024. Trustee Reichel. Trustee Sandoval.
Whereas September 15th marks the beginning of National Hispanic Heritage Month. This observance, which began in 1968 as Hispanic Heritage Week, was expanded in 1988 to cover a 30-day period celebrating the rich contributions of Hispanic Americans. And whereas Hispanic Americans have significantly enriched our country, state, and community through diverse cultures, resilience, and notable achievements across various fields, including education, the arts, science, technology, and business. And whereas the 2024 theme for National Hispanic Heritage Month is Pioneers of Change, Shaping the Future Together, highlights the impactful leadership and contributions of Hispanic Americans. And whereas Hispanic Latino students make up 47% of Twin Rivers Unified student population, reflecting their integral role in our education environment and community. And whereas Twin Rivers Unified is dedicated to promoting understanding and appreciation of its diverse cultures year-round, and is committed to an inclusive environment that celebrates all students' unique experiences. And now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Trustees of the Twin Rivers Unified School District that September 15th through October 15th, 2024 is designated as National Hispanic Heritage Month, and encourages all students and staff to participate in activities and events that commemorate National Hispanic Heritage Month. Passed and adopted the 17th day of September 2024 by the Twin Rivers Unified School District Board of Trustees, Sacramento County, California, by the following vote.
I'll move it.
Second?
Motion made by trustee Okara, seconded by trustee Sandoval. Trustee Sandoval?
Yes.
Trustee Bastian?
Aye.
Trustee Okara?
Aye.
Trustee Baker?
Aye.
Trustee Boyd?
Aye.
Trustee, Rachel?
Aye.
And trustee Jefferson's an aye. Motion carries.
Consent agenda?
I'll move the item.
Second, Bastian.
Hold on. Sorry, guys. Where's the consent? Okay. Motion made by trustee Baker. Did you make a motion?
Yeah, seconded by Bastian.
Seconded by trustee Bastian. Trustee Sandoval?
Yes.
Trustee Bastian?
Aye.
Trustee Okara?
Aye.
Trustee Baker?
Aye.
Trustee Boyd? Aye. Trustee Rachel?
Aye.
And trustee Jefferson's an aye. Motion carries.
J, oral communications. J, oral communications. Do we have any speaker cards?
Yes, we have two speaker cards for that. The first one is Rebecca Ledoux. Let's see. Oh, she's back there.
I'm Rebecca, president of TRU. TRU educators work tirelessly to ensure that our students are equipped to succeed in their college and career goals. Tonight, you will hear the district provide a presentation on Edgenuity. This is an educational program that the district primarily uses for our credit recovery program. Since the district started using this program, our graduation rates have spiked dramatically. The optics of improved graduation rates seem worthy of celebration. We have long been concerned about the academic achievement gap in TR, and improved graduation rates can indicate we are making progress on this problem. The achievement gap is a difficult problem with complex factors playing a part, such as socioeconomic factors, inequity, and lack of resources all intersecting. TR now has approximately over half of our students at Highlands and a third of students at the other big high schools taking Edgenuity courses. This is a significantly higher percent of students using the program than in other nearby districts. If these programs are effective in raising our graduation rates to around 85%, shouldn't we see a rise in our state test scores? We don't. Ed data shows that 23% of TR's 11th graders are proficient or above in English, and it's even worse in math with only 12% proficient or above. The graduation numbers look so good that the danger is that we forget that the real goal is for our students to be educated and prepared for success. Test scores indicate that this program is not truly educating our students. It's true that other nearby districts use Edgenuity, but they do not implement this program the same way TR does. Our district allows pre-testing, which allows students to pass a semester course in one day. Other districts don't allow pretesting. Hundreds of TR students are taking online Edgenuity courses, passing semester classes in 1 week or even 1 day for A through G credit. This would be great news if our test scores indicated our students were getting an education, but it simply doesn't. Our students deserve academic programs that provide a real education, not just a diploma. TRU looks forward to working with the district to develop programs that support learning mastery. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Corey Yen.
All right. Good evening, President Alcara, Dr. Martinez, and Board of Trustees. Corey Yen with Twin Rivers School Police Association. Just to kind of give an update, not a whole lot going on right now, but we still look forward to every single Friday night, working the football games, being there to support. I know recently we came back from Clovis last week, so it was good to see a couple guys go out there. Involved in, recently, I believe it was last Friday, we'd had Hero Day at Hagenwood, so I guess in the morning before school started, it was Hagenwood Elementary has all the staff and everybody greet the kids, dressed up as superheroes, music playing, everything else like that. We had our officers out there to help and greet them as they were coming in to start their day. And the next one we're looking forward to is Perfect Attendance Day at Rio Tierra, which I don't know if you guys are aware of that, but students who get perfect attendance, I believe for the first month, get to choose a staff member of their choosing to pour green slime on. If you look back the last couple of years for pictures, you'll see us there, and you'll see us there again this year. Other than that, nothing really a whole lot more to say right now. Hope you guys have a good evening.
Thank you. Any other speaker cards?
No, speaker card.
All right, K, oral communications, hearing of the public.
Is that K? Okay. Yeah, we have a few cards. First speaker is Selena Tazabid.
Selena Tasabia. Good evening. I am here to detail Highlands Community Charter School's abusive and retaliatory conduct towards employees. Under the leadership of Bill McGuire, the Highlands culture of fear remains intact. Employees are terrified of speaking out due to the threat of retaliation and firing, and my situation is proof that their fears are valid. I have been employed at Highlands since January 2022. I am an English as a second language and high school teacher, and I hold a master's degree in TESOL, teaching English to speakers of other languages. On Monday, September 9th, 2024, I was pulled straight out of my classroom into a meeting with the HR director, who then confiscated my work laptop and phone and said that my, quote, conduct was being investigated, unquote. When I asked about the reasons for the investigation, the HR director claimed that she was not at liberty to share any further details. This is a blatant violation of Ed Code 87623, which states that I am entitled to be, quote, notified in writing of the general nature of the allegations of misconduct upon which the decision to place me on involuntary paid administrative leave was based within 5 business days of being placed on leave. Today, 6 full business days later, I remain completely in the dark about this investigation. According to California law, Highlands does not get to kick me out of my classroom, pull me away from my students, investigate me, keep me uninformed, and then later decide what to pin on me, presumably in order to fire me because I've been outspoken about curriculum and other things. Under Bill McGuire, Highlands continues its pattern of willful and capricious retaliation against employees. Therefore, I urge Twin Rivers to investigate and to hold Highlands accountable for Ed Code violations. Thank you, and I look forward to your response.
Next speaker, Araceli Perez.
Good evening. First, I'd like to give kudos to Shari Warta, Ryan DeGiulio, and Yasmina. Each is efficient in answering all questions, promptly providing documents, and investigating concerns, all while being professional and very kind. Thank you for the outstanding work you all do. One disappointment is that last October, both Highlands charters were extended 3 years until June 30th, 2027. The additional 1-year extension beyond the 2-year automatic extension in the in the education bill. I researched SB 114, and it appears that the first 2-year extension until June 26 is automatic, but the additional extension of the charter until June of 27 is optional. My concern is that a 3-year extension of Highlands charter allows Highlands to continue spending public funds with minimal oversight and also acting in a very poor way with its employees. I respectfully request that because of the audits and their findings, that Twin Rivers consider revoking the optional renewal year, which currently extends the Highlands Charter. I sent the information to Dr. Martinez and Ms. Huerta this evening. Tonight, TR has a presentation and approval of the unaudited actuals. I wanted to share that last time there was an unaudited actual at Highlands. They are extremely deceptive. The summary says that there was an increase in books and supplies by 4.6 million, but really they slashed textbooks by $1 million, added 5.6 million to non-capitalized equipment without any information, so that it looked like in item 4,000, books and materials, it went up 5.6 million, but really books were slashed by 1 million. I brought this up at the meeting, and I'm sure Sandra Betancourt has given her written presentation to you of all the problems regarding the actuals at Highlands. Thank you.
Okay. All right, L, here the public was removed off the agenda and will be heard at a later time. M, present and approve Twin Rivers Unified School District 2023-2024 unaudited actuals. First presentation, Ryan DiGiulio and Kate Ingersoll.
She's leaving me high and dry tonight. How are you guys doing? Well, I'm sure she'll be on her way. Yeah, she's probably listening. But good evening, Board of Trustees. So tonight we're going to present the 23-24 unaudited actuals. And Kate will be on her way, but we'll get you started. So where we are, so we closed the books for 23-24. As you know, we're already into the 24-25 budget. We prepared the year-end financial statements for all funds using our standard account code structure. And the unspent funds and categorical reserves are identified, and those carry over. So it's finalizing those numbers from last year that were spent, unspent, and then pushed into this year. We also compare, a very big important function of this is comparing the unaudited actuals to the estimated actuals for variances, and I'll give you a little preview. Kate will share the numbers now that she's present. She will present the numbers, and her fiscal team, the great Kate Ingersoll and her team did phenomenal. So fiscal services, you'll see, did a fantastic job with this year's budget or last year's budget. And then obviously these results are used by our auditors to do our final audit for the 23-24 year. So here's our agenda. Typical things, we'll get some background. Kate will get into the actual numbers. We'll actually look at the multi-year projection, kind of what it means that we've kind of got these actual results and how that impacts our MYP, and then we'll talk about COVID funds, which are winding down, and the next steps in the budget process. So you could see everything we do, we show this every time, not to be redundant, but everything we do in terms of resources goes to these purposes, right? Our roadmap to college and career ready, our strategic framework, they're essential in everything we do. So it's all about getting us there with the financial resources we have. We talked about the budget cycle. You can see we're at the beginning of the year. So the next time we come to you will be first interim. We just adopted the budget along with the LCAP when we came to you guys in June. One very important thing, and when we talk about comparing the variance between estimated actuals and unaudited actuals, is that you can see the 23-24 budget, you adopt it in June. There's new appropriations, budget carryovers, there's spending and expenditures during the year. We close the books, we get everything, there's a projection. It's constantly evolving. It's a constantly moving target throughout the year, and there are adjustments being made by Kate and her team throughout the year. So I want to keep that in mind. Numbers we bring you are at that point in given time. They change. And then you can see too, while this is happening, while they're still closing the books, they're working on 24-25 budget and fiscal services. So there's a lot going on. There's a lot of movement. Just want to make the board aware of that. You know, these are snapshots in time, and we're constantly updating and ensuring for accuracy, as you'll see with Kate. So you can see here's a list of all the forms that are included in the SACS documents. But the key is that we got a positive certification right on our general fund. So right now we're financially positive for the current year plus 2 out. And then I'll turn it over to Kate and she'll get into some of the details on it actuals.
Thank you. Ryan spoke about the budgets being a living document. What we're here to talk about right now is the unaudited actuals. That is the final conclusion, the actual numbers for the end of the year, which is different than us coming with projections and assumptions and estimates of projecting the budget for the year. So in the center column, we have what's called the unaudited actuals. They're unaudited because our auditors haven't come and audited them yet. So they will be here the month of October, and a independent audit report will be put together, and we will bring that to you in January. But these are the final numbers for Twin Rivers for last year. The column to the left is where we estimated that we would be at the end of 23-24. And so those were the numbers that you saw in June when we brought the adopted budget. We also did an estimated actual of 23-24. And as Ryan mentioned, we did a really good job of what we're projecting and where we landed. So there was a $1.3 million variance between those two numbers out of a, really, if you put all the funds together, we're $750 million. But we're 0.39% within expenditures of a variance. And this is on the unrestricted money. For the restricted money, there is a 0.3 or a $300,000 variance of what we were estimating and where we landed. This is a 0.12% of expenditure variance. The restricted funds, these are categoricals. They're restricted for a specific purpose. They're grants, they're entitlements. The first set of numbers, unrestricted, they're both important, but the other one's a little more important because that's our ending fund balance. That's what we're carrying over into the future, whereas the restricted, the revenues always equal the expenditures. Here is a total of them together. So in total, there's a 1 million variance or a 0.19% of expenditures. So we're going to look, the variance, it's big to our pocketbook. It's small to a percentage of the district, but we'll still talk about, well, what were those variances? And we always look at these every year to see how we can improve for the following year. But for this year, we fell a little short on interest income. Got a little bit more revenue in state lottery, and then $100,000 in some miscellaneous revenues. On the expenditure side, there was a $500,000 variance for certificated, classified, and benefits. $500,000 is a lot. However, when you're talking about $100 million, it's not. So. Supplies. The next, there's about a $300,000 difference for supplies, services, and capital outlay, and a $400,000 in our other outgo. And what that is that we received a little less money from our categorical programs through indirect. So again, in combined, there was a 1 million variance for the entire general fund, which is 0.19% of expenditures. So now that we know where we are, the very far right-hand total fund, ending fund balance is $188 million. So what's the components of that ending fund balance? We have $1.9 million in non-spendable. That is our mostly inventory. We have $109 million in restricted programs. We'll look at that list in a minute. $20.6 million in committed funds. Look at that in a minute. 2.5 in assigned. We also have that list. And then lastly, for our economic uncertainties, we have $54.4 million for the end of 23-24. That is 9.7% of the general fund expenditures. The The board policy, the intent, is to have 10% of expenditures or 2 months of salary. So our 2 months of salary is $42 million. So we do meet the board's intent for economic uncertainty. And you'll see in the MYPs in a couple slides that we have that. We're currently projecting that for this year and the next 2 years. Here's the details, what's in that assigned. It's mostly instructional materials carryover. There's a little bit of supplemental concentration funds that are carrying over for a specific purpose that'll be spent this year. Some bigger numbers here. Here's the restricted. Again, these all have purposes that we cannot deter from. So like Expanded Learning Opportunity Program, also known as ELOP, it's our before and after school program. We have $23.6 million that we're carrying over into 24-25. That'll be budgeted to be spent. You can see all the rest of the programs here. Oh, let me go back. Oh, that's not back. It's a little one, little up, little down. Nope. We're gonna go little down. I just wanted to note the very top one, the Learning Recovery Emergency Block Grant, that's one-time money. This is how much we have left at the end of the year. There is a plan to spend it over the next 3 years. So even though COVID funds are mostly gone, that block grant and the fourth one down, the Art, Music, and Instructional Block Grant. So those two are both one-time funds that have plans and purposes, and once they end, we will no longer have those funds or those items or need a new funding source for what we're paying for. Committed, we continue to commit through the board resolution towards technology, HVAC, and employee recruitment. These numbers haven't changed. All right, moving into our multi-year projections, these assumptions are the same as what was presented in June for the adopted budget. And so all we did here for the multi-year projections is put in the new beginning fund balance on the adopted budget based on the unaudited actuals and kind of push those through all the years. And if you look at the very bottom, for economic uncertainty, you can see for 24-25 this year, we have 49.1 million projected, which is 9% of expenditures. And you can see it decreases a little bit each year, but we're still within our intent for economic uncertainties. Here's another look of the ending fund balance. The blue is the restricted programs, the green is the unrestricted. The blue, depending on what funding's coming in for the year, can really change year to year, but the greens are unrestricted, and you can see that it's staying pretty steady. Okay, a couple more slides here. COVID and block grant funds, kind of mentioned this already. There are no COVID funds after 9/30/2024. It's just a couple weeks away. The one-time discretionary block grant that I mentioned ends 6/30/2026. The one-time funds for the Learning Emergency Block Grant ends 6/30/2028. However, we are spending the funds before they expire. We currently have $9.4 million in positions paid by these one-time block grant funds. That $9.4 million is slated to come back to the unrestricted general fund. So you'll see in 26-27 that you're going to, once we get in projecting out that year, you'll see a drop of $5.7 million in unrestricted, and in 28-29, $3.7 million, so that we can continue to pay for those items. We do have an additional almost $5 million in service agreements that do not have a funding source after those one-time funds go away. COVID funds. At June 30, 2024, all funds are either spent or encumbered. That really big $10 million for ESSER 3 is HVAC projects that were being wrapped up in July and August on the schools, and also the outdoor learning shade structure tables. So those all will be spent within the required timeline.
So just to note as we transition to the next steps, you know, Kate talked about the millions of dollars in one-time money. It was obviously a very unique time going through the pandemic and the fallout of the pandemic, so there was a lot of one-time monies, but that's part of what we're doing in terms of making adjustments. Not only are we making adjustments based on the actual results, but we'll continue to make adjustments and move ongoing items out of one-time funding. I mean, you really shouldn't use one-time funding for ongoing items. So something we'll work with the board as we continue to move towards the future. Couple notes. We submitted an application for the exemption for the 55% classroom compensation. We're currently about 3.84% less than the required 55. But our classroom teacher salaries are in excess of those comparable school districts. And a lot of that is because we spend, you know, expanded learning opportunity or ELOP funds of $31 million. Independent auditors, as Kate mentioned, are coming really kind of into October. And then the ending fund balances will be added to the 24-25 first interim budget, which will be presented in December, and that will show results through October 31st. That's our first reporting period, so you're going to see adjustments, right, especially to the expenditure side based on what our actuals and how we're projecting those out. The independent auditor report will come to the board in January, which will be basically the final conclusion to this 23-24 budget year. And as we move into questions, I just want to say thank you to Kate and her team, and to give you guys a barometer of success. We talk about accuracy from a budgeting scale, especially on the general fund for school districts. The goal is usually a very accurate budget is 1% or less, and they were combined 0.19%, so under 0.2%. So tremendous job by Kate and her team. That's why I was so giddy coming up here, even though she wasn't by my side at the time. We were happy because it helps us predict things, right? So we can understand what the needs are for students and how we can best allocate those students. So accuracy is key for us and paramount for the board to plan the vision of the district. So we appreciate their efforts and all the fiscal services, and we'll open it up for questions now.
I have a question. It was on one of your earlier slides. It said that you had projected $32 million for curriculum. I think it was textbooks and something, and then we only spent $17,000. That's great. I just wondered why for textbooks and stuff. Does that mean kids weren't losing their books? Because I know we haven't adopted anything in quite some time.
Do you know which slide it was? Your comment didn't quite make sense to me, and I just want to be able to clarify what the information meant.
If you go...
Lost library books carry over is 17,000.
No, it was way back at the beginning when you were, it was like your second slide or third slide. It had that you had projected $32 million that we were going to spend on curriculum and textbooks, but we only spent $17 million.
So, so what we're looking at here is the restricted funds, and this is...
It's a different slide.
Oh, it's not that
It
one.
specifically
There was 32
said
million
textbooks. It said textbooks and curriculum. It was like your second slide. Anyway, I just wondered that's a great savings, but I just wondered why you projected 32 million and we only spent 17 million.
Even if you look at the other one, it might have got shifted between object codes.
No, it was a...
You were just there.
Yeah, right
Go back-
there.
Go back forward where you were
A
just
little
at.
bit more.
You were just there.
No,
No, go back.
Go back.
I'm sorry. It was
Do we have
all
a slide
laid
number?
out by
11?
everything that you spend, and
Yeah,
it
go
was
back.
more. It was like the second slide.
I think it was this right here.
Little more, little more.
We just saw it was right there.
Oh, that's the beginning.
Okay,
I
so
think that was the
one that
amount right
showed-
there. The one
The
that's,
restricted one's the one that showed the 17.
this one right here.
That's the one she said it wasn't, though, but it's restricted.
Under expenditures where it says books and supplies.
It was on 10. It was on slide 10.
It was
Oh,
one
slide 10, okay.
right there. Under employee benefits.
Right.
Oh, yeah, so it says books and supplies, so I just was, I mean, I know students lose textbooks and whatnot, and you had projected 32, and I know we didn't adopt anything, so I just, it's a great savings.
So this is actually, so this is all the categorical restricted programs. And so that 108 million that we had at the ending fund balance of all those restricted programs that carried over, it's all those programs not yet spending on books and supplies. This is not specifically for instructional. It's any supply of the district. Go to the ELOT, the next. Keep going. One more. So it's all these programs not spending their money yet, and they're carrying it over into the next year.
On a typical, on the restricted, you budget the money, and then that's when you true it up and you carry it over, right? So we're showing the results. So it's very typical on the restricted side to see it start budgeted and then end up being carried over for the portion unspent. Because it's usually with restricted programs, it's not necessarily all defined within that fiscal year as well, what the need is.
But as you can see here, we do have $16 million held for instructional materials, which is the adopted instructional materials, and we have a schedule of what curriculum, what years, and when they're going to be adopted, and that money is there for when we need it, because it is coming.
Any other questions?
Put your mic on.
And I should have paid attention to the slide numbers, but I didn't. But there was 4.9 million in service agreements that we were anticipating we were not going to have going forward in the projections. And I'm wondering, is that supportive services? What type of, are we talking about services with after-school programming?
And COVID funds.
I'll get there. It's going to take a little bit, but we'll get there, I promise.
Right there. Right there. Slide 20 at the bottom.
Yeah.
From the one-time block grant, do we anticipate other grants coming to?
We can't assume that right now. This is based on what we have. So these are one of the things where I'm saying, when I kind of made that comment when we switch to the next slide, is we have to do, and part of what we're working on is making sure when we get one-time monies not to include things that are ongoing. So some of the things, unfortunately, like I said, it was a very unique situation with the pandemic, so we're transitioning some stuff out. We're going to have to see, and that's why right now, if you go to the projection, and she was talking about the green line, it doesn't go down that much. That depends on the economy, right? So if we get increases in the future, we'll see how the economy goes. Obviously, this year, they used a lot of savings from a state level to ensure funding at a very low cost of living adjustment or an increase in per student revenue, per ADA revenue. If we get that increase, that will help compensate for it. If we don't, we're going to have to find other things. We're going to have to, I mean, it's priorities, right? Like at a certain point, what are you spending your money on? What can't you spend your money on if that's a priority? So we'll have to make those decisions, but we have time.
And is this all inclusive of SELPA funds as well?
Yes, our special ed
So
funding is
some
all
of those
in there.
service funds are potential service.
Those are not,
agreements?
none of
They're not.
those related were specific for special ed.
Okay, thank you.
So there's time, but what she's trying to say is we have some things in there that are ongoing, so we'll have to identify ongoing funds for that. So if we get additional funding, obviously we can allocate some of that. Some of those services we might, or, might not need to continue, depends on the needs of our students, right? We have to evaluate the effectiveness of them. And then also too, there may be other priorities and also some things we budget. That's why the accuracy is important. We tighten up budgets or we shift budgets. So it's a combination of all those things.
Yeah, it's always very challenging. The state gives you one-time money, so you need to use it for one-time things. And even if it's a service agreement and you do it for 3 years and it's supposed to be one-time, but then people get used to it. But it was one-time money to be for 3 years.
Yeah, and that's why we're mentioning it too with this board, because again, it was a unique time, but moving forward, we have to be very cognizant of what is ongoing and what is one-time. You only want to spend ongoing dollars on ongoing things, but you only want to spend one-time dollars on one-time things. If you get things that are ongoing, then you have, $14 million and you're like, what if we don't get more revenue from the state? Or what if we wanted to do other things? And there becomes that expectation, like Kate said, that's tied to it. So we'll work with the board on these things, but we have some time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Do you have a motion?
I'll move it.
Second, Bastian.
Yeah, that's right.
Motion made by trustee Baker, seconded by trustee Bastian. Trustee Sandoval?
Yes.
Trustee Bastian?
Aye.
Trustee Okara?
Aye.
Trustee Baker?
Aye.
Trustee Boyd?
Aye.
Trustee Reichel?
Yes.
And trustee Jefferson's an aye. Motion carries.
All right, M2, present and discuss Genuity.
President Alcara, Superintendent Martinez, trustees, we are here this evening to share some information with you about the online platform Edgenuity and its use in Twin Rivers Unified. I have brought up a team that has been deeply involved in the implementation and use of Edgenuity, including Megan Simmons, who's our Executive Director over Secondary Schools. There you go. Carol Young is our Director of Counseling and College and Career, and Travis Burke, our new Executive Director of Special Projects and Equity. And Travis is going to do the honors of the presentation, and we are all here as well just to support.
All right, well, thank you, everyone. So I'm here to provide you an update on how we are using Edgenuity, an online platform, primarily for credit recovery in the district, and before and after school and during the day across all of our secondary sites. So here's a little history of Edgenuity and how we got the platform. 2015, Edgenuity and other platforms were used, piloted, and then eventually it was adopted for credit recovery. At the time, we needed a cohesive and aligned system for credit recovery. There were a number of different ways that was approached prior to 2015. I don't remember it, I wasn't here, but that's what the researchers showed me. In 2017, as part of the KEMA redesign, KEMA adopted Edgenuity as its core curriculum. So at KEMA, it is used as core curriculum for grades 7 through 12. During 2020, they shifted to do summer school for high school fully on Edgenuity with teacher facilitation to support our students during the pandemic. That was a distance learning summer school. Last year, mid-year, we met with teachers and counselors and different folks to make some updates in our protocols to decrease academic dishonesty. And this year, we are looking at some of the improvements in the program and the platform. It will be called EdgeX. That's the new platform. And we're looking at how we can apply some of the updates in the technology to help with teacher monitoring, student monitoring, and then systems integration so that when students need courses, they can get loaded back and forth into areas without a lot of human having to input the items into the system and waiting for folks to input those courses into a student's course schedule. So Edgenuity, as I said, it's an online platform. They have 140 UC approved A through G and NCAA courses. They have all the courses we have in our catalog. There's 24/7 access to the instruction during the school year. It's primarily a video instruction. The platform has intervention tools, note-taking tools, different tools for students to use as they work their way through the program. And the platform also has a dashboard that has analytics for teachers and staff so they can look at how long students are using the program, how long they're taking during a test, their progress, if they're making progress at all, and their scores on various parts of the units that they do. The platform also gives suggested grades based on usage and based on the percentage of success with the assignments and the assessments. And then those grades are validated by a credentialed staff for TR, typically the teacher that is proctoring that course for the students. And I mentioned some of the other tools, but if there are other questions at the end, we can respond to what the program looks like. In TR, we use this at all of our high schools. Largely, you'll see most of our high schools use this as credit recovery. So that's a student who has failed a course or didn't complete a full course and needs credit toward graduation. They get to take the course a second time using Edgenuity. And some of the tools in Edgenuity allow them to make up just the content that they need to complete the course. A couple of our sites use that in different ways. If you look at CCAA, they have supplemented course options, being a small high school and having not as large of a staff, so that they have the full broad scope of coursework for the students to take. And KEMA has it as their primary core curriculum. So across sites, this is the usage from last year. So 2023, it says 34, but it means 24. The usage at the different sites. These are the number of users, student users that logged on to Edgenuity and used the courses. These are the total courses and credits that were completed by students at those sites. KEMA looks really large because it is KEMA's core curriculum. So I'll leave it here for a second for you to check out the numbers. So when looking at what other districts do across the state, 573 California districts partner with, it's now Imagine Edgenuity. They merged with another company. So if you look up Imagine Edgenuity. Locally, the districts right there in the cutaway are the districts that are surrounding us that use Edgenuity. Another popular platform is Apex, does something very similar, just has a different name. When our teachers looked at Edgenuity versus Apex, they preferred Edgenuity. So last year, we had some issues brought up from our teachers and from our counselors and from our sites that arose to the district level. And we have a process to examine those. So we hear the issues, then we do some investigation and analysis, look at who is our proposed solutions going to impact staff, teachers, students, our whole system, and then we select changes and we implement them. So I'll go through a little of what happened around February of 2024. A group of teachers wanted to address the rise in academic dishonesty, specifically with students taking the tests outside of the school day at home and maybe passing the tests without knowing the content. So in hearing those teachers, we looked at what kind of changes could we make on our system. Our BARD policy aligned with all of our tests and credit recovery must be proctored by a teacher. I checked in with a number of surrounding districts on their policies. These are the ones that told me I could share what they're doing. So San Juan, Roseville, Joint High School District, Folsom, Cordova, they also proctor all their tests, so they require their tests to be proctored by teachers on site. We implemented the post-test last year and the pre-testing this year with going through due process if they suspect academic dishonesty with students, and then using our discipline policies and board policies to remedy that situation. All of the districts allow remote work, so students can work on their work at school. They allow retesting and restarting if a student is suspected of and caught cheating, so they get to start their coursework over, and then they go through whatever progressive policies they have. San Juan requires home communication with the families of students who are working through credit recovery. We're slowly implementing that, so as needed, when we see students not attending or we see students in danger of not participating in the course, we have home communication that the teachers go through, and then they go through a tiered system to make sure that the families are contacted. So midway through last year, we implemented the requirement of proctoring, the requirement of attendance, and turned on a piece in the program that only allowed the post-test to be taken at the school site. Moving into this year, we did the complete system where all tests have that requirement, and the limit in the technology only allows the tests to be turned on when the students are on site. Still gonna come back to the group and see how that's working, if it's effective or not, but this year it seems to be working for the teachers, and they're not seeing as big of an issue, and students are testing at school with their teachers unless they make an agreement with the teacher, with the counselor, and with the admin support on how they could do that remotely, because we have diverse needs, so we have to meet their needs and meet them where they're at. So that's the benchmarking with our neighboring districts. Roseville shared a number of other districts they had benchmarked with, which I included in a board communication, but it's a pretty exhaustive list. Similar things going on around neighboring districts, so we're partnering together to have similar approaches. So that was our district perspective and the high level of usage. We have interviewed a few students just to get a feel for who's using Edgenuity and their experiences.
Edgenuity has really helped me a lot because I had to make up a couple classes, and since it's online and I work, it's more helpful, and I could do it anytime during the day.
And Edgenuity really did help me recover the credits I was missing, and it gave me a lot of free time to go to practices and other events after school. And I do think that Edgenuity will help future students.
I took Ingenuity courses for my 2 classes, World History. And being online, it helped me to do other activities along with taking those classes. And if I wouldn't have done Ingenuity classes, I wouldn't be able to graduate this year. By taking Ingenuity classes, it helped me to graduate this year. And along with it, it also helped me like to play sports and do other activities, because those courses were online and you can do those courses whenever you have free time.
Edgenuity has really helped me out because it gave me an opportunity and a chance to make up my credits during the school year instead of having to take it over summer, and it would help out a lot of different future students. It would just open up time.
I took Edgenuity over the course of my 4-year high school career. It gradually affected my grades. It helped improve it. I was A through G eligible and graduation eligible, and it really impacted my life.
Edgenuity has really helped me throughout the years because between freshman year, junior year, I didn't really think I was going to graduate, and I was really struggling, and I was missing lots of credits. But when I came to Foothill, like, my counselor sat me down and he offered me the option to use Edgenuity, and it really helps me get back on track. Like, it lets you know, like, if you're behind, if you're ahead, anything. So I feel like it's good to have, and it's another alternative instead of just failing out.
I appreciate Edgenuity because it helped me a lot. Last year I had surgery and I had to come back, and I was missing a lot of credits. Edgenuity also helped me graduate. If I didn't have Edgenuity, I probably wouldn't be graduating, to be honest.
Oops. We have a... Okay. I need a little tutorial on how to use this thing, apparently, yeah. Okay, I see it now. I needed to look at it. Yeah. I'm afraid to use it now, but we have a few different of our teachers and counselors and admin from our sites to share some of their perspective on how it's used at their sites. So we'll go ahead and start with Desiree Hansen from CCAA.
Good evening. Thank you for having me here tonight. I'm very passionate about Edgenuity. I've been a counselor at CCAA for 19 years, and being a small charter, we were K-8, went to a high school. We started with 40 high school students. We now have, I think, 210. And having a complex master schedule with several singletons, several one-teacher departments, several teachers doing 6-period prep, we really struggle getting kids the classes they need. And so Edgenuity for me was just like, it just saved everything, because now I can give kids the classes that they want and need to not only graduate, but to be A through G eligible as well. I know that there was the big push for graduation, which I push every student to look at not only graduation, but being A through G. And Edgenuity has given our kids a chance where A lot of them have made up several classes. We've had a high success rate the last few years with Edgenuity. With summer school and charge, we didn't used to have charge before school or after school, so I only could get kids into summer school. So Edgenuity has helped have those kids make up those classes so they could be A3G eligible. The other thing is that we get kids from out of district, and so our school does not have where a lot of kids walk home. Parents have to come pick them up. And so a lot of kids cannot stay after school to do Edgenuity or come early because parents are, working and dropping them off. And then a couple success stories. We have a student this year. She worked really hard to be A through G, and then last year took a dual enrollment course, did not do well in it. And then this year she had planned on taking Spanish 401 and 402 to get her 2 years of world language. And I said, what happened? She, at the end of the year, didn't pass her ARC class. And so this year, I had to put her, right now, she's doing Spanish 1, semester 1, and then she'll do semester 2, all in the fall semester. And then she's going to do Spanish 2 in the spring, so that she's going to still be A through G if she can pull through with those. And then another student last year, the same story as one of the students up here, he said, Miss Hanson, I can't graduate. And I said, yes, you can. I believe in you, but you have to believe in you. He did summer school, he did all the classes he needed to do, and then he also did charge before school and after school and just knocked out a bunch of classes. We do, when it's used with fidelity, it's a rigorous program, but it has to be used correctly. And so I don't have the pre-testing on. Teachers can turn it on and off, but from when I said it, I have no pre-testing on. And then teachers contact me, we talk about academic integrity and honesty. I just got an email from a teacher that a student, it showed plagiarism. And I talked to all the kids before when I go into every class about how it has a detector for AI and plagiarism, so make sure you use your own words, and just talking about academic honesty and citing your sources. You can use sources, but cite it. So we talked to the student outside and kind of went over things, and she said, well, I did use my own words. And anyway, we're getting the message out, kids are understanding, the teachers do read the assignments, and I believe firmly in it. We would not have our success. We won't have kids graduating if I can't have Edgenuity. So I hope that we keep it. Thank you.
Awesome. So we have a couple of our teachers. Dennis Weaver is a CTE teacher at Highlands. He also does a ton of our credit recovery and has worked with this program through the regular school day, after school, before school, and summer school.
He raised it up because I'm tall. It's cute. Good evening, everyone. The babies that you've seen in that video are the reasons why I get up and I leave home when it's dark, and I go home when it's dark, because they need it. I see people mad at the fact that we offer these programs, but they need it. Somebody has to do it. They don't have, without people and these programs, they don't have these opportunities. So, yeah, there are smart kids out there that will game the system and find a way to cheat the system. And we find the ways to fix the system. This year and during summer, when I seen the new system, I noticed the fix. The way that we run it now, the students cannot utilize this system unless they're in a classroom with me or that teacher during that period. They can't take a test unless I am in that room or that teacher is in that room. Nobody else can unlock it unless it is me or that teacher. Contrary to what we used to do before. The system is in place. The protocols are now working. People are upset. They voice their concerns. They're working hard to make sure it works for the system, for the kids, so that we have more success stories, so these kids can play sports, so these kids can graduate, so these kids can work, because kids make mistakes when they're in the 9th grade and the 10th grade. And sometimes it takes them a minute to mature and grow up. Because some of these kids have, I don't know, the responsibility to be mom and dad. And that responsibility is thrown on them, so they don't have the ability to work on education like other kids might have. Dare I say that out loud? So while we shake our heads at these kids because they don't have parents or the structure of education in the house like some of us provide for our children, we have to keep that in mind. So we have to give them the opportunities, because not every kid is trying to cheat the system. That is why I'm still here right now, because in a minute when I leave here, I still gotta go home and be dad. I still gotta go home and grade papers for my kids at my schools and CTE classes and their projects. I still gotta go home and jump on Edgenuity and grade those kids' papers and assignments and check for plagiarism and make sure they did everything right. I gotta wash uniforms and get ready for a volleyball game, even though I didn't get home from a volleyball game till 10 o'clock last night. And I gotta get home and get up at the crack of dawn and do it all over again, because that's what's required of me, because somebody's daughter or son needs it. So that's why I'm here. Thank you.
Thank you, Dennis. Also, Mr. Carl Reed, who is a CTE teacher, football coach at Grant, and also has done much of our credit recovery at Grant, both before, after school, and some of the during school.
Hi, thank you. The program for me has kind of changed the game and opened the door. I'm watching two kids of mine play Saturdays who graduated early, and Edgenuity gave them that opportunity to graduate early. A lot of our younger kids are all looking at that option now of graduating early and getting the college atmosphere, getting the college experience in January. It's changed the game with graduation rates as far as, like I said, we're right now sitting with 100% graduation rate athletically. And football-wise, I can speak on 100%. We're graduating our kids, and they're getting the opportunities to be eligible to go to the next level. That's the biggest thing. Graduate, but have the opportunity to experience the next level. D1, D2, D3, NAIA, all that stuff. It's opening doors for them and giving them, letting them know they have a chance. In a 1 through 6, it's hard to get ahead. And Edgenuity's opening the door now for them to get ahead and get out. I'll have 2 more graduating early this year. They're on pace to graduate January, December, January start college courses. And I've checked in with the ones who are there now. They're doing well. So, you know, say it's affecting students' learning. Nah, the ones I see right now are doing pretty damn good. You know, they're maintaining 3.0s in college, taking college courses. So, I mean, it's good to have a hand up. It's good to help out. We need it. You saw, I wouldn't have had it if the student who said, if Edgenuity wasn't there, I wouldn't have graduated. We're gonna be happy with that, getting rid of something that's gonna help kids graduate? I don't see there's a win in that. You know, anybody saying it. You know, I'm a teacher. You know, my union said this, but keep it real. We're gonna look at a kid and say, oh, you didn't graduate because you did this. Come on now. We're trying to help kids get a hand up, and sometimes they need a little way to get up and get up there because it opens their eyes and says, you know what, I can make it, I can do it. And me knowing that I have a freshman class ready to get involved and graduate early and move on is a big thing. So it's a hell of a program, and I supremely, that's why when Travis asked me, I'm like, you got me. It's easy. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Carl. And we have a principal perspective.
Before we move on to principals,
sure.
quick question. When do we get to hear from the other teachers? There's a handful of teachers that had concerns, and I've noticed you've kind of put a good smoke and mirror show. When do we get to hear from the other teachers that have concerns? That's what I'm looking forward to.
They can come into public comment.
They weren't invited tonight.
I also met with them.
Thank you.
Deidre Barlow from Reelland High.
Thank you. I would also like to invite up our head counselor, Carlene Bittler, to talk a little bit about it as well.
Good evening. So I have been around for a while. When I started in this district in 2010 at Grant High School, if a student had failed more than 3 classes that they had to make up as a senior, there was no way for us to have them graduate from our school. We had to send them somewhere else. And what Edgenuity has done is offered ways to recover that don't require a cohort of 20+ students in a after-school classroom setting, because there's a lot of subjects that students need to make up that we don't have 20 students who need it. Those days of trying to get groups of students and teachers to match up with them were difficult because there were students whose needs were not being met through the traditional classroom setting that we were offering. What this program has done is, yes, it's increased our graduation rate. Yes, it's increased our A through G completion rate. At Rio Linda High School over the past few years, we've almost doubled our A through G completion rate from 33% to 65%. As Mr. Weaver mentioned earlier, we have a lot of students who start out high school without the maturity to understand the consequences of what they do on a day-to-day basis. And they make mistakes as 9th and 10th graders. And this is a way for them to recover from that, to, as a more mature 11th and 12th grader, make up the courses that they need in order to earn their diplomas. Diplomas matter. They're the key to success, jobs, and self-sufficiency in our community. And if we aren't serving our students and giving them access to their diploma, we are setting our community up for failure. In a post-pandemic scenario where we are now to our high school students, none of our 9th through 12th graders had to do distance learning. And so we are seeing a reduction in credit deficiency overall. It has reduced. We have fewer students who need credit recovery, but we do also have a high transiency population in our district with students going from different systems of schools where they might get partial credits from a school, they might get different subjects that we don't offer at those grade levels, so they have mixed records from different places, and we often have to figure out ways to put a student in 2.5 credits of a subject here or 1 credit of a subject there. And Edgenuity offers us ways to give them to that in a succinct way that honors the work they have already done at their school and not making them repeat things that they have done. So those are some of the things that we appreciate it from a counseling perspective.
Thank you. I would also like to add in that, Ms. Hanson, Mr. Weaver, Mr. Reed, Ms. Bittler, all had great things to discuss as they look at it from the counseling and teacher perspective. And from an administrator perspective, many of our students do not have the push that many of our students don't have the push at home for academics. And they get that push from school sites. They get the push from the people I'm looking at right here. Our parents continue to call and ask the questions. And I want us to really focus on how our parents know about the Edgenuity process and making sure that they're aware of exactly the opportunities that the students are given. One of the things that I've had discussions with Trustee Bastian about is, our parents send us their best students. They don't keep their best at home. They send us their best students, and we are to teach their best students. And we are doing that through whatever process we can make. We are building the systems and creating the systems so that our students in our district are learning. So I want to say thank you for allowing our students to have the same opportunities that the students in the other districts are having. And I just want to end with that when we talk about the bigger picture, we talk about getting students into the college courses. I was at the airport this evening, ran into a couple former students, and they are going to college, working at the airport, loving it. I'm not saying Edgenuity was the answer for them, but I know for one of them, it was a game changer for her. So thank you very much for listening.
All right, thank you, everyone. So in a perfect world, everyone would get all their Tier 1 services at school, and we'd have these great relationships, and everyone would be college and career ready without a hitch. But we do have huge concerns with equity and meeting a bunch of diverse needs. You've heard some of them come up. They fall into a number of categories up here just from what we've looked at in researching what some of the needs are. We have students that have many obligations before and after school and need a resource to catch up when they fall behind. Our schools and our teachers have limited resource. They have limited time, they have their own lives. They can't follow students around 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And we don't have enough teachers on tap to be available to drop a class and meet a kid when they fall behind at every moment. The schools also have limited space, limited time, and only so many staff members. So when we have numbers of students that need credits to recover, we have to have some kind of system, and this was the best system that our teachers reviewed, and they went through a pilot process just like we do with other things we use. And we have a continuous dialogue with the sites based on how that's going, and we work to correct problems as they arise. So here are the next steps with Edgenuity. We're going to monitor the processes and usage reports coming up through the next couple months. We will take time to collaborate with the staff and the students that are using it, find out how it's going, if we need to make any adjustments, if there's any concerns that arise with the platform. In the fall, we then plan based on that input and data, and we set a schedule to execute any changes we need to make, any updates we need to make from the folks that are using this and from the data that comes out of the program toward graduation rate and toward student proficiency in the platform. And from there, I'll happily answer any questions you may have.
Any questions?
I have a question. You said that I heard teachers get up here and say they implement the test, the proxy for the students, and then they're in the classroom.
Yes.
Is that, I know Ingenuity is like different subjects. Is the teacher that's implementing the proxy, are they proficient in, like, if it's English teacher or, I mean, in that area? I just want to know, how do you proxy something that's not in your field? That's my
they're
question.
proctoring the test, and really they're just making sure that the students take the test honestly without using web searches. So and it's more of like a lab setting, because we don't have the number of teachers to meet the exact needs of students. So yeah, students are taking different courses within a lab setting. When we have the opportunity to put a bunch of students who need English with an English teacher that's willing to teach that section or to stay after, that happens. But largely, yeah, there's students working on different coursework within the period during their schedule or within after school. The proctoring is just really like whenever you take a test, making sure that students are not cheating on the test, not using technology, and when there are, hopefully, like the teacher said, they build those relationships and have those conversations and do what teachers do, really teach the whole child, not just the content.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. Oh, go ahead.
Is it possible to put that slide back up that shows how many students are using it?
I'm going to try. I'm not very good with the clicker, though, so it's... It's too late for me.
And then if you were just going to tell me, I think the Rio Linda principal is here. How many students go to Rio Linda?
A little over 1,600.
So if we look at how many users, we're looking at about a third of the students there have to use Ingenuity. That I am an educator, have been for 37 years, and that just, it breaks my heart that we have this many students, and I'm just picking on Rio Linda because it's the first one that's there, that have to use this program to get credit recovery in order for them to graduate. So to me, there's a bigger picture, like what's wrong? Why are we having to use this program and not educate our students? As an educator, a body, a person that I can interact with is how I am going to be a productive citizen in this world. And to me, this program, I guess I would need to see how many students that have used this program have gone on to college, because I don't think the college uses Ingenuity. So that's the data I would like to see.
I'll look into getting that data from you. It's possible. Sure.
As educators, we take classes online as well to continue our education. We learn from a distance as well. So in order for me to continue my education, I take classes from afar. We use the computer. University of Laverne, Southern New Hampshire, it's the world we live in. We live in a digital world, digital age. So it is possible to continue your education from afar. It doesn't necessarily mean that you cannot succeed by taking getting your education from a distance. It's just the world that we live in as we move from physical to digital. I would just add that point to it. I would not necessarily look at it as it is a total negative thing.
I wouldn't say that, but you and I are adults, and you and I have been molded, and we have already gone through school. We have already learned how to get good ways to learn information. And yes, and I would admit to you that if I took an online class, I'm not doing as well as if I had been in the college classroom and learning the class. So I just feel that a body educating a student to mold them into be a productive citizen, and that is what I feel my goal is here, is to make sure that every Twin Rivers student is going to get the best education that they can and be the best student and citizen in this world that they can be. And I would just like to see the data that's showing that they are able to go on to college and be successful citizens.
Can I interject there? I think there's misconception here that students are depending solely on Ingenuity in order to move forward. But, you know, I was in state government, and I used to have to take exams, and those exams were proctored. And they were proctored to ensure that I was not cheating. But in order to take those exams and to be successful, I went to college. I took courses and I applied what I learned. And what I see here with what is explained this evening is that in order to get the grade that the students need, they have to pass these tests in order to move forward. Now, I couldn't see a student who hadn't applied any of the learning any of their classroom learning being able to pass these tests. I think it's not fair to make an assumption that we are not valuing the classroom learning, because they are applying it.
My understanding is they are not taking classes by a teacher. The whole class is Ingenuity. The whole class is a computer program that is giving them information, and then they take tests. There is no knowledge that they're getting from a classroom. They're getting it from a computer. That is my understanding, and tell me if I'm wrong.
So Edgenuity is credit recovery for the most part, which is they have taken a class in person and they did not pass that class. Unless it's at Kima, that's a different story, because that's their core
And so they have to take the class again. It's not that they can just take a test. If I don't pass a class in college, I have to retake the class. So what my understanding, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, what I think I'm hearing you say is they didn't pass the class, let's say it's government.
Sure.
I then have to take Ingenuity on a computer program.
Correct, so they can
And
fit
I
it into
get
their
the
schedule.
information that I didn't get the first time from a real human being and a conversation in a classroom, and now I'm gonna take it online, and I'm gonna take a test, and then I can pass the course. Is that my understanding?
That is,
So they have to retake the whole class. It's not just a test from the information that they were learning from the first class.
they retake the class, they retake the coursework, yes, within the Edgenuity platform.
If I could just chime in, because we're making a lot of assumptions about our students, and I have issue with that. I have issue with the fact that we're looking at our high school students as their children. They've been taught since an early age till they learn online. That's what they've been doing. So to make the assumption that a student can't learn by basically, taking the information in from an online class, we cannot make that assumption. There's a lot of kids that learn like that. My daughter's taking online college courses. You're going to tell me they're not learning?
I didn't make that assumption.
And I'm not speaking directly to you. But what I'm speaking to is that, because the bigger issue I see here is limiting access to kids of color, because that's who we're talking about. And we're talking about Afghani students who need to.
Don't turn this into a white thing, because my kid is white.
Excuse
and
me,
my
excuse,
kid, and
Trustee, Trustee Baker?
Can we have a
It's
call to
my
order,
time.
please?
So we have Afghan students who come from Afghanistan or Pakistan we don't have transcripts for. And yet they want to graduate. They have to complete 130 credits to get that diploma. If they stayed and did 2 full years, right? 30 credits a semester, that's 60. They get possible 120. They're still short. Edgenuity's there to support that kid so they can achieve that goal. I've never been in a place where we don't celebrate kids like being successful. This is really new to me. And furthermore, if we're going to utilize data to make an assessment about a program, then we need to start utilizing data to make an assessment about effective teaching. Because we can't just choose to use data when we want to and use it in specific ways that feeds our narrative. That is wrong. Because that's what's happening here tonight. We all know what's happening here tonight.
I'm confused.
I am just going to stop there
that.
before I continue to say things that I probably shouldn't say at the dais. But if we're going to start talking about data, and you know what? And just let me put it out there. Former high school principal, California Distinguished School, high school principal, National Blue Ribbon School, high school principal. I think I know a little bit more about some of the comments that we heard tonight about the effectiveness of running a high school. But go ahead, let's demonize a program that's helping our kids who don't have parents to support them at home. Let's demonize it. Let's not celebrate it. It's unbelievable to me. It's unbelievable to me that people here don't realize that I meet with the high school principals, 4 times a year to talk about their kids. And you know what? To find out that there's teachers that fail 70% of their students in class, year after year after year after year. But we don't want to talk about that, right? We want to talk about edgenuity. Oh, kids are graduating, they shouldn't be graduating. Yeah, we have systemic issues. And if we want to have real conversations about what issues we have, happy to have them. But put someone in front of me who knows something about high schools, not someone who doesn't know anything about how to talk about high schools, how kids matriculate, how they learn, and what we offer. I am very, excuse me for my tone tonight, but I cannot believe that we're talking about a graduation rate in a district that had a 75% graduation rate when I came here, and now that we're at 92, we're acting like it's a horrible thing. For kids who come from families whose parents don't have a diploma.
With all due respect, our colleague has been trying to respond and clarify some of the points that you made.
I'm just making a statement. I'm not looking for anyone to respond.
I think she's trying to clarify what her input was. I did not hear an accusation from her of cheating. I didn't hear her demonize any students. I think that there's an assumption here that in asking questions, and I understand that you're passionate about it. I do understand that. We are all passionate about our kids.
Are we?
And their success.
I feel like you're attacking me, and I feel like you don't even know me. So I will clarify what I said. I was not saying about the program. What I'm saying is I'm looking at numbers here. I'm looking at all of these bodies, these students, and I said, it seems like we have a bigger problem. Why do all of these students need recovery? I haven't said anything negative about the program. I still believe that a body needs to have an individual in a discussion and real conversations. Our college classes are like that when we went to college. I really feel attacked by our superintendent by just asking a question. The data question was, I feel my part on this board is to help students, every student in Twin Rivers, be able to do what they would like to do. If it's college bound that they would like to do, if they'd like to go to a trade school. The data question I asked for was, how many of these students are then going on to college? I feel very disrespected and I feel very sad that the superintendent wants to attack me because I ask questions.
First off, I wasn't referring to you about the data question, Trustee Reichel. So if you think I was speaking to you about that, that was not what I was doing. And if you think that my statement was solely directed at you, then I apologize for that, because that's not what I was doing tonight.
I'd like to make a comment. I think we need to look at the whole picture, and I do like the comments from the counselor and the teachers that said about our kids. A lot of our kids right now are in situations at home where they come to school. I heard somebody say they have to be mama, daddy. They come to school with issues. So to have ingenuity for me, and I didn't know nothing about the program, but I'm glad that we have it. But a lot of our kids come to school and they just need that. Everybody's not like everybody. There's some that can sit in the classroom and get their grades and they're fine. There's some that are behavior problems and we just want to kick them out. Maybe ingenuity is the answer to that. Maybe they work better one-on-one by themselves. And I have seen kids do that. So for me, we have to just look at the whole picture of our children. They're not like old school where, you know, the parents could make them, because the parents were probably in their lives and stuff. A lot of our parents are not in these kids' lives. And so we got to just look at the whole picture about our teaching our kids and maybe that extra push. I do want to know what changes are going to be implemented as far as, you know, keeping them from cheating and different things. I want to update on that in the future. But I see this program as being not for everybody. I see Grant has 862. Grant is a special school. We got a lot of English people, kids at Grant that don't speak English. Maybe they need that little push from ingenuity. I'm not sure. I mean, we're talking about this as if it isn't a good thing, but I think it is. Like I said, I'm glad we did the presentation for me because I did want to know about it. I like it when our kids are succeeding. I mentored kids over at Martin Luther King, and that was when COVID first hit. And I had a young lady over at, she graduated from Pacific, and she came up to me and she said, I made it. This kid struggled. She struggled. And I was so happy to see her graduate. Not sure if she used ingenuity or not, but just to see her graduate across, she was struggling. And so for me, you have to take the whole picture into consideration. A lot of our kids got issues. A lot of our kids don't speak English. A lot of our kids are being bullied at school. There's a lot of things we got to take into consideration. So I think for me, we need to give it a chance. I don't know if it's going to go away or not, but I would like to see us keep it. I would like some monitoring done. To see, because I did hear about some kids being able to cheat with this ingenuity program. I don't like that. I don't like what that's just like with anything, you know. I heard somebody say, some smart kid is going to find a way to cheat, and they will. But we need to find a way to not let them do that. So that's just my 2 cents.
I would like to speak.
Thank you. First, I wanted to say that I was aware of some issues with the program a long time ago. I know we've spoken to the district, and I know you guys work really hard to resolve those issues once they, were aware of them. And like everyone said, there will be someone to figure something out of how to get around somewhere. But I think what we have to remember is, yeah, there's always problems to a start of a program. But that one student that graduated that could get a job, and I keep hearing college, college, college. And I know we have students watching our meeting tonight that have taken this program, and I don't want them to think they're any less of a student for graduating and getting a diploma, because I know they worked hard. We have students that don't go to college. It's the state of the times. It's the way things are. We have students struggling. I know our principal knows, I know you spoke of Rolanda High School. A lot of our students go straight into jobs or are working already, and they don't have an opportunity to go to college, or they have to work so their family will survive right now. I know a large percentage of our students are doing that right now because I work with them and I'm around them every day. And I do not want those students who are listening tonight to think they're any less of a student for not going to college or for working for their families, because their work is appreciated. And one of these students I know who did graduate because of ingenuity. They're a family of 6, and this girl graduated and is working a full-time job. And she came to me at the football game on Friday night and said that she would not be able to work. Her family would not be able to survive if she didn't graduate. And she thanked our principal for not giving up hope, and the counselor for giving her the opportunity to do this. And she's an amazing, amazing girl. I just want us to remember that. It's a state of the times right now. Everyone's different. Will we have problems? Yes, we do. But more importantly tonight, I think I want to get across there are students listening, and I want them to know that it does matter, and that them graduating with this diploma because of ingenuity is progress, and they're a success story.
Mr. President, I think I'm probably only one of 2 people in this room, Michelle being the other one, of having to look at it from a parent perspective now, okay? And Sasha. There's nothing more troubling when you walk into your kid's bedroom. You have homework tonight? Dad, I could fail the class because I just take it on ingenuity and pass with 100%. That was troubling for me and Melissa too, here. That was a shell breaker. My heart sunk that my kid could not even attend a science class, take it online, and pass it. That's what got me upset. The 2 teachers you had speak tonight, Mr. Reed and Mr. Reaver, I've known Mr. Reaver for 20 years as assistant basketball coach for a couple years. Respect for Carl, Mr. Reaver, respect for Carl, respect for Ms. Barlow. But on the other hand, the teachers that brought the concerns to me too, I've known for as long as I've known Mr. Reaver, his assistant basketball coach at Highlands as well. At this point, I'm willing to take those 2 gentlemen at their word that things have changed and we have moved on. I will be checking with the teachers that have brought the concerns to make sure that they have changed, and if they have, I applaud you and I appreciate you. One thing that COVID taught us was that online learning for a lot of people didn't work. It did for others. I'm interested to see, since we started Ingenuity at Kima at 2017, where our test scores went. Did they go up or did they go down? If they go up, that's compliment. If they went down, then we need to relook at that. Like I said earlier, I am troubled that there are teachers with some concerns, and I think we need to hear everybody's concern. They probably weren't invited. Ms. Bastian brings up some good points as well, that just because you take Ingenuity doesn't make you any less of a student. But I think when this was rolled out, I think we were using it wrong. People were cheating. People were abusing it. I'm going to say something that's going to be really, really, really unpopular and is going to upset a lot of people in this room, but I'm going to say it. I truly believe our graduation rates are not accurate because of Ingenuity. I'm just going to say it. And I know there's other people in this room that agree with me, and I know there's other trustees on this dais that agree with me. If you have truly made the changes that you say you have made, and the two gentlemen sitting behind you, who, let's just say it again, I have a lot of respect for, agree with you, then let's see. And I'm looking forward to the results of the changes that are being made. The teachers that initially brought up the concerns, I'm looking forward to sitting with them and hearing if they have those same concerns. But I applaud your efforts this far. I think ingenuity is something we can work on. I'm looking forward to seeing the test scores, and I think if it's done right, it could be useful. I agree with Trustee Reichels' opinion. 432 students at Foothill is a lot. Their ADA is what, just barely over 1,000? That's almost half of the student population at one high school. So why? Why are they having to take ingenuity? Is it the atmosphere? Is it, what is it? I've said it numerous times, and this is data that I would like to see. Foothill has about 400 and something Afghan refugees at its school that I still believe, and I've expressed this concern to the superintendent and other trustees, that we're providing zero support for. The teachers are lost. They don't know what to do. The refugees are lost. They don't know what to do. The community is lost. We don't know what to do. Maybe we need to start hitting up the state and saying, hey, you've allowed these refugees to come in, which I think is a good decision, but we need some extra funding. We probably have, Foothill High School probably has more refugees than any other high school in this area. And if that is the cost for the ingenuity, if the superintendent is right, and I apologize to you for my outburst earlier, Dr. Martinez, but why? It seems to me that Trustee Reichel is asking the right question. Why? We're so quick to get kids on ingenuity, but we're not asking the question, why? Let's start asking the question, why? Bring the why data to me and tell me why our kids are on ingenuity, and let's fix that problem. Thank you.
I just wanted to say, I as well have a child who would not have graduated. One of her teachers is back there without ingenuity. That is the situation we were in post-COVID, but that's not the situation we're in now. And I think these numbers here, I've asked for some metrics behind them. I want to know what grades. Are these the rest of the COVID? How is this tracking over time as we move out of the post-COVID era? I'd like to be able to ask these questions without, someone ringing an alarm bell that, I'm accusing students of cheating. That is not, I want to be clear. And I understand we're passionate about our students. If you accuse a student of cheating, I'm going to be, on the defense. That's just, we believe in our students. But having these conversations, we have to have them. We have to, if that's not comfortable, but we need to give each other the space to ask these questions. It would have been wonderful to hear from some more of the educators who were concerned about this. One of my concerns seeing these numbers like this is that Edgenuity becomes the curriculum. We're inching that way. It would seem, without more information, just taking this at the value as it was presented. And that's something, Edgenuity is an amazing tool. I don't think that we need to throw the baby out with the bathwater, and we don't want to. Our students need those pathways. That is valid. But I think that we need to understand parameters. We need to track it. It was not my understanding that tonight we were having this presentation and then we were going to move to get rid of Edgenuity.
Right.
And I'm concerned that it's devolved into that. And it was, from my understanding, to be a question and answer forum for the board and to get more information so we could formulate questions. There is a concern, and again, with just these numbers, it's hard to tell, that our test scores don't align, and we need to explore that. Maybe Edgenuity is something that can be used to boost them, who knows? But if we don't have these conversations and we don't delve into that and really explore this, then we'll never know. I would like to see moving forward a plan. I saw kind of a system, but I would like to see some benchmarks. I would like to understand what it is we're tracking. I would like input from those who have expressed concerns to be part of determining what those benchmarks will be or how we're going to measure things. And then we can formulate a plan moving forward. I don't think anybody needs to be on defense for Edgenuity. I don't think that, it was not my understanding that that was the conversation tonight. But I don't want people to be so emotional that they're not hearing concerns, which are valid concerns. So that's fine.
Thank you, Trustee Vogt. I just want to address the board. First, let me apologize for my behavior, because I never want to express myself the way I did this evening. Trustee Reichelt, that was not intended towards you, so I apologize if that's how you felt. You know, one thing I am is I am extremely passionate about our kids, and everyone who works in the district knows that the success of our kids is the only thing that really matters to me. And I will fight tooth and nail to ensure that our kids have an opportunity to be successful. I mean, the growth that we've experienced and the things that we've experienced over the last 10 years, well, I'm sure there's going to be people to say that we haven't had any growth or we haven't, but we all know the truth. We all know the truth. And I'm really proud of that work. And I'm proud of the people that are in the room. But as long as I'm superintendent of this district, I will fight day in and day out for our kids. That's just who I am. When it comes to resources, when it comes to utilization of our budget, when it comes to facilities, I believe our kids deserve the best. That's my default. Some people can appreciate that, some people may hate that. But that's how I've led this district for the last 10 years, period. And the results speak to that. And it's because the people in this district have gotten behind that work and believe in our kids. So I apologize for my behavior tonight. I don't apologize for the passion I have for this community, because this community needs people to fight for them, needs people to bring programs for their kids, because they don't know what to do. And, you know, I sit up here as a child from two parents who didn't graduate from high school. So I know exactly how it feels not to have support at home, not because they can't support you, not because they don't want to support you, but they can't, because they don't have the experience to support you. So I can't help myself but to stand in that gap for every kid who has a parent who doesn't know how to support them that way. I just can't help myself. So I apologize. You know, this has been I've heard your guys' concerns tonight, so I didn't dismiss anything that was said. And we'll continue to get better at this. We'll continue to bring data forward to you. We'll move forward from here. Again, I apologize to the board, because you guys know me and this is not my behavior. But this is, I can't sit back and allow people to say that something's fake or something's not real, because I know the hours that people put in. I know the hours of the counselors, our high school counselors, what you guys do in meeting with kids. I know the work that all the teachers are doing. I mean, it's not just one person who's doing that. It's a system. So on behalf of myself and the board, I want to thank everyone for putting in those hours of work to supporting our kids, because they need you. So I'll just leave it at that. Probably said too much tonight, I'm sure.
Awesome.
I'd just like to respond to that. Oh,
Yeah, I think we need some clarification here. I'll take Grant, it's 862 student users. I don't want the misconception to be put out there that those 862 students are using strictly only Ingenuity to get through school. that might be a course that they were having trouble with, and they're using it for that course. They're not having it replace their classroom learning. So I think that needs to be clarified.
That's why I requested the metrics behind the data, so that we could clarify that. I
So
agree
these
with you
are
on that point. and I
students
would
that
love
have
to see-
taken one course or more. So a lot of these are taking single courses. It's not 862 kids on a full Edgenuity schedule. Just anyone who
Right,
took
so it says
an
student
Edgenuity.
users, not, so.
That's the label
so-
from the
Well,
data that I got
appreciate
from
the clarification, but that's
Edgenuity,
why that
and-
came.
And I probably can't answer every data question on the spot, but I can send you whatever you need. If I can figure it out. Some of the ones like who went to college may be a little trickier.
I just wanted to respond and say that I accept your apology. I want to make clarification as well. If the public got the impression that I was attacking Ingenuity, I wasn't. I was just asking a bigger question. Why? I do know that not all students go on to college. The reason why I was bringing up college is because you are saying that it's A through G requirement. Well, A through G is so that I can go to college. I know many people don't go on to college. I have two very successful brothers who never went to college. I'm the only one that went to college from my family, and they are much more successful than I am. So I did not say that everybody has to go to college, because they don't. I did not say that getting the high school diploma didn't mean anything because you used Ingenuity. I wasn't even referring to Ingenuity. I just want the clarification that I was just asking. I saw the numbers. It looked staggering to me. And I am an educator. I will always be an educator. I educated for 37 years, and I too, Dr. Martinez, will fight tooth and nail for our students as well. And I just wanted clarification to clarify what my questions were. Thank you.
I was just going to add two comments, and one in all of our work in preparation and kind of studying all of this. Every conversation involves the fact that this platform cannot replace an incredible teacher. That is just common knowledge. We know that, and we want that for our kids. And in many of these cases, they're seeing 5 or 6 teachers a day, and this is the one piece that they need to be okay. So the numbers look staggering, but that breakdown may help. And then just the other thing too, Trustee Baker's point earlier, we really, truly care about the teachers' concerns around this, and that has been coming to us. Travis has reached out and talked. So while we did not invite some of them to come and share those tonight, I think we've over the last year gotten a pretty good handle and been responsive in terms of trying to improve the systems, trying to network with all the other districts to see if anyone is doing this or that a little bit better, so that we can be responsive to that, and will continue to be so. I, for one, really do care about the teachers that have concerns, and we're going to work to mitigate those.
Could you go back to this, back a slide or two? There's one that shows the update.
Oh, look, see, I'm learning.
Sorry.
That's good.
Towards, keep going back. It's towards the beginning where it showed that it was called Edge X.
I'm going backwards now, sorry. I could operate it if I had a mouse, you know, I'm old school. Come on now. That's the very beginning.
I think it was, sorry, go forward. So EdgeX is
Okay,
being
EdgeX,
implemented this year.
So EdgeX is a technology improvement by the company itself. So that was an add-on. We're looking at how that integrates into our system. So sometimes they're buggy when they have new technologies, so we're currently in kind of a beta phase, making sure it works with all of our other systems and doesn't disrupt anything. But supposedly it has some improved video support, some improved tools for students, and some improved monitoring tools for whoever's looking at it, whether it be district or teachers or students monitoring themselves throughout the program.
And that includes the AI to figure out if they're using AI.
Yeah,
as well.
that, getting trickier and trickier. And again, like everyone said, that comes down to the relationships with the adults they have at the school. Because it is credit recovery, they're probably, if there's an opportunity to try to skate your way through it, someone's going to try to figure that out. So it's dependent on those teachers, those counselors, whoever is working with that student has the relationship at the school to get them through it and bring it back, yeah.
A question for the...
But it alerts.
For the coaches that are here, I know if an athlete places, takes his placement exam freshman year, places in Math 1, that pretty much excludes them from going to D1 school, right? And so with this, they can catch up and be able to finish. I mean, this was a problem that during my time that we had, where if you go to Math A1, you won't be able to take pre-cal by the time you're a senior. And so is this...
Megan, can you answer
this is
that?
some...
You know that? I'll give you some experts.
Yeah.
Summer school, okay.
Yeah, they have to catch up, or
So
they're
this-
not going to be able to play D1.
So with this, they take those classes and...
Yes.
Okay.
But they're repeating it, they're taking it for the second time, not the
Second
first.
time?
Yeah.
Okay.
And there are some restrictions on NCAA regulations on how the course happens to. So pre-testing was not approved through NCAA this year.
So they would take it in the summer, and if they don't pass in the summer, they can use Ingenuity to get the credits.
Oh, for CIF, yes.
Okay. All right. Any other questions?
I have a statement. There was something that was said here tonight that I just don't want to leave without addressing it. And that is for Trustee Baker to question whether or not this district is being honest when we report graduation rates. Trustee Baker, you and I have been on this board going on 14 years, and we saw how things were being run before that. No systems in place. It was really a mess, and we have seen, and we have sat together, and we have approved programs and curriculum and trainings to help us get to the point where we are now. And I think as a board member, to sit up here and say that we're not telling the honest, we aren't giving an honest picture of what's going on in this district, it's upsetting to me.
I didn't say we were dishonest. I said that they were, well, I want an election, and I'll voice my opinion.
All right.
Granted, it's been a while since I've won one, but.
All right, thank you very much.
Can we have a call to order? We move on.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Board Superintendent Communication. Any items?
I know I talked to Dr. Martinez, and then we're going to have a presentation in regards to transportation for community members that had questions in regards to that coming up, so I appreciate that. Thank you.
We're going to bring that forward in November.
Dr. Martinez, I have one. It's like beating a dead horse, but I can't let it go. I know we've communicated about Joshua's house several times. We've asked and we've asked and we've asked. It has become clear with Joshua's house through the DEA, the County Department of Health, the State Department of Health, that it is not a hospice. And one of their board members has confirmed it. Joshua's house is not a hospice. It is a homeless shelter. City regulations, city code says that we cannot put homeless shelters near a school. That's exactly what they're doing. I want us once again to maybe meet with the lawyer to see if we have any aspects down that avenue. Have them prove to us that it's going to be a hospice. It is not going to be a hospice. And any of us that have had parents on hospice, I know a couple board members had parents and family members on hospice recently. The nurses walk in, they set up the morphine with self-drip, and then they leave. I have spent, and I think Trustee Sandoval's, the 3 or 4 phone calls a day I make to her, can confer. I have done a lot of time and energy on this. They are, my belief is the compliance in the EMS industry is that somebody is going to walk in, set up a pump full of narcotics, and walk out. What places? We tried, we can't get an answer. I just want to please, let's try again. Is it a hospice or homeless shelter?
Well, I think we can get our lawyer to draft a letter to the city stating what you're just saying, right? That if it is a homeless shelter, their own ordinance will prevent them from opening that. So we can put that on record.
Perfect, thank you.
Any other items?
And then two, we still haven't had an answer on the Highlands Community Charter and the Sandra Benecourt. I know it was an action that was made by this board to put her on. I think it's an action taken to remove her from that board.
So, so we didn't need to make an action because it was just an appointee from the president, and we submitted a letter to them. They have to change their bylaws because they adjusted their bylaws. So at their next board meeting, I believe that they're going to execute that. But she is aware that she is no longer serving as a board member to Twin Rivers.
Thank you.
I had a question. At our board retreat, we had talked about board members visiting campuses, and we were going through the board secretary, and we said we'd give it 30 days and we could revisit it. So I was hoping that we could revisit that. And also, I missed last meeting, and I watched it, and Trustee Baker had brought up SWAN math and a presentation on SWAN math. I just wanted to piggyback on that as well and wondered if we could revisit the contracts.
Do we have 4 board members for presentation on SWOT math?
Yeah, I mean, I just want to see, I don't want to revisit the contract. I just want to see if it's helping, if it's improving, if our test scores have gone up since we've started using it. I'm interested. We've contracted with them. We've spent a lot of money on it. We don't ever really talk about curriculum or test score, so I just would like to see if it's working or not. And if it is, what are we doing right? And if it's not, what are we doing to change it?
I support that.
We need 4.
Yeah, I support that as well.
Okay, so Baker, that's 3. What else?
Okay.
I'll provide a BC though with some information.
Just
Thank you.
some information, yeah.
All right, board comments?
I do. Last week, after sitting through a city council meeting for 5 hours, along with Officer Pope, we finally got to address the city council. I spoke about our council person and various community groups wanting to take the property at Garden Valley School and build a park. And it was an opportunity to address the 2040 general park plan here for the city and let them know we do not have enough parks in our area, and the city's having to use our facilities for Friday Night Lights and our parks for their youth programs. So those are the things that I spoke about. And I was so pleased that Officer Pope came and talked about lack of communication from those involved with Joshua House. I think it had a better impact than me showing up every week and talking about it because there's been some traction. But I think that's just a beautiful example of how far our police department has come in working on, working collaboratively on all the things, the totality of things that affect our students. Like, I did not expect Officer Pope to talk about his concern for the mental health of our students. I mean, I was in that audience. I wanted to applaud. I thank Trustee Baker for this evening to, asking for our attorneys to take a look at what's going on there. And, 2 years ago, this board passed a resolution not in support of this, and it just doesn't seem to go away. We don't know where it's going. We just see piles of dirt down the road there, and I don't think they're being honest about it. Maybe now we can really take a look at what's going on and not trying to be fooled by the city or by those involved with Joshua House. And last thing I want to say is I went to my open houses at my schools, and I tell you, I seriously had tears in my eyes when I looked at the new play structures, the shade structures for our children, and the tremendous parental involvement. I mean, all of my schools, there were a lot of parents there. When I first got on the board, there'd be a few, but, that has to say something. Thank you, Travis. That has to say something to the way that we have been communicating with parents and getting them involved. And there were, each of these schools, their school site council presidents were there also, it was a great couple of weeks going to all of our open houses. So that was cool. And I want to thank my fellow board members for the flowers I received. We buried my brother yesterday, and it was a beautiful send-off. And I appreciate the support from this board during that time. Thank you.
I have go ahead.
Trustee Bastian?
So there's a lot of great things going on in Twin Rivers, and I know I'm always the positive one here, but I just would like to thank Rolinda FFA for an amazing Roundup car show in Twin Rivers in support of our FFA program, along with the admin and staff. I know it takes a lot of work. Also, our Twin Rivers Police Department for being at that event, and for being at our events in the Rolinda area around our schools, because it truly does make a difference. So it was a great car show. They had all the animals out there, got to take a picture with a llama and all kinds of stuff. So it was really cool for the kids to do. And also I wanted to congratulate Foothill on the Elkhorn Classic, the trophy. So I know Trustee Baker is ecstatic about that. But I would like to congratulate both teams and the admin and staff for working to really, the kids came together. It was a good game, and it was a good night, and I'm just proud of our team and our coaches and our staff, for always playing with integrity and just, always being a knight. So we appreciate that. I was able to attend Grandparents' Day, back to school nights, and all that fun stuff. And I want to thank Trustee Sandoval for bringing up parent involvement, because we had a lot of that at our schools. I mean, it was packed. So I think that's great that we're getting all the parents involved, and I know they're all busy, and so I want to thank them all for supporting our students and schools. We have our Rolinda Alberta Country Fair coming up, and Twin Rivers will be there along with the police department, and that will be September 21st, this Saturday. Rolinda FFA will be there. It's always a fun day in Rolinda, so I look forward to seeing everybody on Saturday for that. And also, I just wanted to say, I know I think it's something that needs to be brought up tonight, that we're definitely here for the kids. And I hope every trustee that sits up here remembers that. In, I know famous words of my dad, he just wishes everyone would get along when we're all here for the right reason. And he was an educator for a very long time as well. So my mom and dad are teachers, and I live by that every day. So I just hope that we can, provide that for our students as examples as we're sitting up here. So thank you.
Trustee Jefferson.
I wanted to say I was really proud to see our Teacher of the Year is from Grant. I had never met him, so I was so glad to meet him, and the other young lady from, where was she from? From Foothill Oaks. Just congratulations to both of them. I'm really proud of them. It's always nice when we got teachers from our district that win those big awards like that. Every district doesn't win that, so that's really, that makes me feel good. I just wanted to make an announcement that we're in the process, our community association is gonna have a big bike fest on October the 5th, starting by the firehouse off of Grand Avenue. So anybody that likes to bike, bring your bikes. Like to see some Twin Rivers folks participate in that. We're trying to get kids interested in bike riding and doing some healthy stuff. And so that's going to be October 5th. We're going to have a big bike fest. We're going to ride down the bike trail, come back, have a barbecue, play some games. So that's coming up. And then on October the 11th, we're going to have a movie night for the Afghan community. And our community, we've been cleaning up the bike trail over there in Del Paso Heights. And we met a lot of the Afghan families there. So we want to know their culture and do some things with the Afghan community. So we're going to have a movie night on October the 11th, and we're going to bring resources and stuff to them. We got a bunch of groups that'll bring them some resources. Of course, Dr. Martinez promised me that Twin Rivers will be there, and our police department will be there. So we just want to kind of get them implemented into our community and know that we care about them too. Even though we don't really know about their culture and stuff, we want to learn. So that's coming up on October the 11th, and and that's all I have. Thank you.
Trustee Baker.
Thank you. The quad at Foothill is looking great. The outdoor amphitheater is coming along. Thank you for that, Dr. Martinez and your staff. Trustee Sandoval brought up something about how far our police department has come. And I don't think she couldn't be dead on. I remember when we first got elected to this board, Trustee Sandoval, the issues and the problems. And then we brought in Chief Lugo, and like every other executive director, you've helped move this district forward. Our facilities couldn't look better. Mark and Ryan and your team, thank you. The budgets are exceptional. I couldn't be happier. I mean, I know we had a disagreement tonight, and that's okay. That's okay for us to disagree. I keep saying that's why there's 7 of us. Rebecca Sandoval and I had a disagreement, but we'll be right back on the Joshua's House problem tomorrow morning. I got to call you with some more information that I got today, and that's okay. Those of you that want to come by Foothill High School, the Elkhorn Cup is back home where it belongs after a 28-0 beating. But Trustee Bastian, who by the way was more than willing to wear her Foothill shirt today, but we decided to get rid of that tradition. I think win or lose, I think that she should come to the board meeting and represent her high school, and win or lose, I should come to the board meeting and represent our high schools. And I think that's the direction that we've decided to go from now on. But thank you for willing to honor that bet, but you should wear your Real Linda stuff proud. Thank you to Principal Barlow and Principal Trokey. I don't think you guys could have done a better job teeing up that game, making sure that it was respectful. We even had a barbecue dinner at the Bastian House before the game. Stacy and I did, so we could, kind of just agree to disagree for a couple hours. But thank you guys both for you and Principal Trokey. Like I said, I was going to bring it tonight, but I decided not to. But the cup is home safely where it belongs after a cheer vacation to Real Linda. And feel free to stop by and check it out. Bye.
Trustee Vogt.
I first of all wanted to also give a shout out to Ryan. I went to several open house or back to school nights last week, and people are excited about things that have happened and things that they're anticipating coming as far as projects. So, and the rest of the team, but of course. So I just wanted to say that it was really exciting to go there and hear, you know, even the students, just the energy was just phenomenal. So I'm excited about that. Look forward to seeing more. I also wanted to, I don't see her here. I don't know if anybody from Nutrition Services is here today. Okay. Today, I had the privilege of attending the Health Education Council Summit, and our very own Lisa Vorse was there, and she was, not only was Lisa there, but we had two of our Pacer for Life. We had Ruben Moody, which Ms. Bittler is with the Health Education Council, and Fatima Malik was the keynote speaker. So I just wanted to say how great it felt to see Twin Rivers in the community, impacting the community. I'm a big believer. You guys are going to hear it for the next 4 years. Strong communities make strong schools, and strong schools make strong communities. So just to see our community out there, you know, leading the charge for schools have changed a lot. School lunch has changed a lot. And I have to tell the board, Dr. Martinez, everybody, people were just like on the edges of their seat when Lisa was talking. It's just what an asset she is. We learned all about KIT grants, so you'll be hearing from that. Even when we were looking at the presentation, I was like, is that left over from the unexpended funds or from the... So it was nice, but she's out there educating not only, you know, board members, but the community, and they know what to expect. So it was really just a beautiful thing to see, and I was like, she's on my team. It was just so very nice. So, and I introduced myself to her afterwards, so that was fun too.
Trustee Reichel?
Yes, thank you. I think everybody knows I wasn't here last year or last month because I had a vacation planned, but the day before I left was the first day that Certificated was back on their campuses, and I made it to all 11 of my schools to wish them a great beginning to their year, and it was just fun to go on all of those campuses. I was able to come back, and 3 of my schools still hadn't had back to school night, so I did attend Miles P. Richmond, CCAA, and Foothill Oaks back to school night, and it was just, students go as well as their parents, and it was just wonderful to listen to the teachers' presentations, to the parents of what kind of a great year they're going to have this year. And then last week and today, I have visited 4 more of my schools just to have conversations with the principal to see how the school is, their year has gone so far, and to just get acclimated to the campuses that I don't know. And it is my goal next month that the principals were going to ask their staffs if they wouldn't mind me coming in and learning what goes on in their classrooms. So it's been very exciting to go into the schools, some of the schools that I have never been to before. And then I'm starting I think it's called the Masters in Governance classes to learn to be a board member and be a better board member, and I start those classes tomorrow. So thank you.
So I wanted to, congratulate once again the 14 students that were recognized by the College Board, and if you notice the beautiful diversity of our students that received these awards, and also the Teachers of the Year, Eddie Jong and Dr. Mark. A PhD, to have a teacher who has a PhD teaching some of these very difficult subjects and being chosen as the teacher and the Sacramento County Teacher of the Year, it was amazing to see. And also recognizing our California Native American Day, and then also our National Hispanic Heritage Month. And I want to use that opportunity to thank Trustee Sandoval, who represents us on the California Latino School Board Association. And I want to thank her for attending their events and bringing valuable information back to our district. This Saturday, kind of a bittersweet moment. I served as the executive director of CARE, Sacramento Valley, Central California, for 20 years, and recently transitioned to a new position. And we had a great partnership with Twin Rivers, where we worked with Sacramento County to get some funds for Twin Rivers to work on supporting the Afghan students and the refugee students. And this Saturday will be the 20th anniversary banquet. And Pulitzer Prize winner, former New York Times reporter Chris Hedges will be the keynote speaker, and another speaker from Brooklyn, New York. It's going to be a pretty good lineup. So if anyone's interested in attending, I will get some extra tickets and have it open to, it'll be the convention center downtown. So if anyone's interested in that, let me know. And with that, our next meeting is Tuesday, October 15th. Or unless otherwise announced, or, there'll be a special board meeting, it'll be announced before then. But our next meeting is October 15th at 6 p.m. This meeting is adjourned.